What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the B-Roll Sports Podcast. Today we're going to be interviewing someone very special, and I think you guys are going to love it. So just wait a couple minutes because we have some sponsors to give. So let's get right into it. Our first sponsor is brought to you by 1516 Partners. 1516 Partners is investing today in the small business of tomorrow. Business owners seeking advice on growth, valuation, and future services. Contact 1516 Partners at 913-387-8961 or via email at jjackson@1516partners.com. Today's sponsor is brought to you by Farmers Union Midwest Agency. Jim Gearhan, agent, is here for all your insurance needs. New to the area or looking for better rates for your home, autos, or farm? Jim has a plan to help you. See him at 90663 Clay Center or call him at 785-632-3264. Today I'm interviewing Chance Liebau. Chance is from Chapman, Kansas, where my mom and dad worked and lived for 12 years. He is currently an on-air host and reporter for ESPN 92.3 FM out of Wichita. Chance, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I've been a fan for a while. It's kind of fun to see the behind-the-scenes stuff. This is awesome. This is really cool stuff that you're being able to do at such a young age.
Yeah. I really like doing it, so.
Yeah, you got a passion for it, and that's all that matters. It's awesome.
Okay, let's start by having you tell us about your family and your background growing up in Chapman.
Yeah, so I grew up in Chapman, Kansas, which you're familiar with, but right in between Salina and Manhattan off I-70. Graduated a couple years ago in 2020. Played three sports growing up: football, basketball, and baseball. I was only good at one of them, but I had to play all three because it's a pretty small town. And I wasn't very good, so I kind of had to learn the game from the outside looking in. And that I always knew I wanted to work in sports. It was something where it's just been a passion of mine. I always enjoyed it. I wasn't always very good at it, but seeing it from the outside, I knew I wanted to work in sports. Your dad, I'm sure, is familiar with the journalism department at Chapman, and I worked with the journalism department when I was in town and had some of my stuff published in the newspapers. I would do the high school game recaps and stuff like that. So, hey, here's what Chapman did last night against Clay Center in the basketball game or the football game, and that would get on the paper. It was really fun doing that. I enjoyed it. People told me I was good at it, so I thought, okay, then I'll just do that for a career. I obviously went on and do something similar to that. In terms of my family, I have a younger brother. He's at Emporia State, where I graduated from, and then two parents. My dad owns the big baseball facility down in Chapman, and then my mom does a lot of real estate stuff down here in Wichita, but I always like to say she's been working from home before it was cool. She's been working from home since like 2008. So, yeah, it was a very sports-centric family. I mean, I have a bunch of coworkers and everybody, they kind of talk to me about, well, have you seen this movie, this TV show? And I'm like, no, when I was growing up, the Royals game was on every night. We watched the Royals every night. And when K-State was playing, we watched K-State. So just grew up in sports and loved it so much and knew I wanted to do it for a career. And that's how I ended up here.
Yeah, my next question's kind of following that idea. Growing up, how did sports impact your life?
Sports was a big impact on my life. I played 1 year of college baseball, but it was an NAIA. I didn't play very much. I just kind of fell out of love with it. But growing up, it was such a big deal for me to be in sports because I got to meet all my best friends there. And it gave me something to do to stay out of trouble. It gave me something to look forward to after school every day because school's pretty boring. I'm sure you're realizing that now. Sooner or later, you're actually going to have practice and stuff after school. You're going to have that to look forward to. But it was a big impact. And it also, taught me how to go about life in the right way. Sports teaches you so many different lessons in terms of how to act and how to approach a day-to-day lifestyle. And it's always been a big impact, learning how to work with a team and learning how to take, directions from a superior that, you might not like them all the time, but they're going to tell you what to do and you kind of have to do what you're told. And there's a big reason why when people are hiring in the sporting or in the work industry, people with a sporting background are always kind of higher up on their list because they have so many qualities and lessons that they've learned from sports that are so good to push into the workplace. So to put it in short terms, just so many life lessons that I've learned that I've carried over from sports until my career.
Yeah. Where did you go to get your education, and why did you pick that college?
So I went to Kansas Wesleyan out of high school. I went there for 1 year, and that's where I met my current boss. I went there to play baseball. I was I think I was sports something major, just whatever sports. I mean, like I said, I just wanted to be in sports. So I was a sports major, and then it was really expensive to go there. I was playing baseball, and that was covering a little bit of my education, and just kind of fell out of love with baseball. Not that I don't love baseball now, but it just kind of became a job for me, and I wanted to prioritize my education and also my career. So I decided to transfer to Emporia State, and that's where I spent my last 2.5 years of college. And I graduated with a communication degree. I had a journalism minor for a while, but I dropped it. But a communication degree. I picked Emporia State because it was very cheap and it was kind of in the middle. I like to say my saying about Emporia is it's an hour and a half from everywhere. It's an hour and a half from Wichita, from Kansas City, Manhattan, anywhere you kind of need to do any kind of work or anything. It's an hour and a half from everywhere. So being in Emporia, it was kind of a hot spot where I could go do games in Kansas City on Friday night, and if somebody needed me down in Wichita the next night, I could go down to Wichita and do games there, and it would just kind of be equal travel. So. Emporia State, it was just kind of a stepping stone. I didn't. It's not like I enjoyed it a ton. It was mostly just to get that piece of paper and get into the workforce because, as I'm sure we're going to get into, it's more about what you know or who you know, and not so much what you know. I didn't learn a whole lot in college that kind of impacted me going into my career field, but I learned a lot of different lessons. I got to meet a lot of different people, and that was definitely a big piece of kind of what got me here where I'm at now.
Yeah, sports. I I'm want to play like professional. If I could, if I might, I probably won't, but I'm gonna I'm gonna try really hard to get there. And I personally, my favorite sport's basketball, and I really like basketball. And it's like I'm also already learned a lot of life lessons along the way from that, like
Yeah.
not getting frustrated when things are tough and things like that. And
Yeah, you gotta hope to grow up a little bit. You got to be 6'6", 6'7", or something to play basketball professionally. I don't want to break any dreams there, but I'm sure you're putting in a lot of work.
yeah, uh, I don't know if I'm gonna be 6'6", 6'7".
Well, and just as an older brother, I know my brother. Jace is really good at basketball. I having an older brother that can kind of push you is definitely good because my brother is so much better than me at basketball. But I like to take a lot of credit for it because I kind of bullied him out there in the on the sidewalk and bullied him when we were playing pickup basketball. So I like to take a lot of credit for making my brother a good basketball player. I'm sure Jace is the same way with you.
Is I'm obviously the better one. Obviously. Uh, Tell me about your job. Do you really work for like ESPN, that type of deal?
So no, I don't work for the big ESPN. I don't know Kirk Herbstreit or Stephen A. Smith, but I do work for an ESPN affiliate. So I work for ESPN Wichita. Like you said, my coin term for what I do is kind of the utility man. It's kind of like in baseball where okay, on Tuesday we might need you to play shortstop, but on Wednesday we might need you to play the outfield to give this guy a day off. So that's kind of my job. I'm kind of our utility man. I do a lot of different things for us. My primary role is covering high school sports. I'm our high school game of the week voice. So we do a game of the week here in Wichita, where in the Wichita Metro we have a bunch of different teams around here. I think I counted earlier this year we have 36 teams or 36 high schools in our listening area. It's a lot. So I cover all of them. We do a high school athlete of the week segment. So I'll go out and interview a male and a female athlete every week and put that on social media. I also run all of our social media, and that is one thing that I didn't learn how to do in college. But my phrase, what I kind of like to say is, there's a YouTube tutorial for everything. Whenever my boss asks me, "Do you know how to do this?" I can say, "Well, I can go to YouTube and find out in 5 minutes how to do it." Social media has definitely been something that I've had to learn on the fly and learn as I go. But in terms of working for ESPN, no. So what we do. We have local shows from Wichita hosted from noon to 4. We have Shane Dennis, who hosts our noon to 2 show, and Pat Strothman, who hosts our 2 to 4 show. And then a lot of our stuff, we get a lot of stuff from ESPN. So, like all of our overnight stuff that you will hear, like if you were to go to bed at 10 o'clock and turn on ESPN Wichita, you would hear ESPN national programming. So, stuff like that. We also get some NBA games on our airwaves, but we are not owned by ESPN. We're owned by a group out of Kansas City called Union Broadcasting. Broadcasting. They own three radio stations. One is up in Kansas City, one is out in Louisville, and we're their newest station. We're ESPN Wichita. We're only, I believe, 4 years old now, so we're very new to the industry, but I think we're doing a really good job in putting our stamp on the city of Wichita and surrounding areas.
Yeah. You. Do you know that my sister works for Sports in Kansas? She's the social media.
I
Uh,
do, yeah. She does a great job.
also kind of want to do that social media or stuff like that, or like do something like that, or be an ESPN reporter. I really want to do that. Also, as like if I don't actually like go into sports a long ways, that'd be one of
Yeah,
the jobs that I want to
you got
do.
the personality for it for sure.
How long have you been working for ESPN? Or uh, just wondering.
Yeah, no, I've worked. This is starting year two. I started full time in January of 2024. I interned in the summer of 2023. So I've been working here for about a year and a half. I've been working here for a year and a half. But yeah, I've loved every minute of it. I was our newest employee for almost a year, and then we finally hired a new guy. So I'm not low man on the totem pole anymore. But yeah, I've been working here for a while, but I've also done some freelance work for some other places since then.
What do you think is the best part of your job, in your opinion?
I mean, the easy answer would be working in sports. I mean, it's such a great, it's so cool. Like I was at Super Bowl Radio Row all of 2 weeks ago, I guess now, where we were down in New Orleans and had a station on the media row, and we got to interview a bunch of really cool players and athletes and former coaches, some real ESPN personalities. Not me. I'm a fake ESPN personality. But yeah, getting to interview all those cool people. But my true answer would definitely be the fact that I get to go into work every day and work with people I really enjoy being around. We've only got 5 people in our office, but I truly enjoy being around every single one of them. It's really easy to come into work on if I have a rough night or a long weekend or a long night the night before. It's really easy to get up and say I'm going to go to work and see my not best friends, but some really people that I enjoy being around, and that's definitely the best part about it. There's not a day that I don't look forward to going in and seeing my coworkers.
Yeah. One reason that I personally want to be a ESPN reporter is because I would get to see like all those professional athletes that would be like maybe I could see like some of the best at
I
college.
was like 2 feet away from Eli Manning last week. It was really cool. I almost gave him a fist bump. It was really awesome.
Uh, and what do you think is the most challenging part of your job?
The one thing that is difficult about working in sports, and this is any kind of sports, whether it's you're working in radio, TV, and actual sports, like working for, a baseball team or a football team, is the hours. It's a little bit different than your traditional 9 to 5, working from 9 to 5. It's a little bit different than that just because, just think about, okay, when do sports occur? When am I going to need to actually be working? Well, it's, at nights on weekdays. So I'm working most weeknights. It's also on weekends. So the hours are definitely challenging, to put it in your terms. It definitely challenging. I mean, I today was at Wichita State for 4 hours for their basketball game. Friday, I was out until 11 o'clock covering a high school basketball game. So the hours are definitely challenging. But at the end of the day, it's rewarding to be able to see the impact that we have on the community and the people that truly enjoy seeing what we do for work.
Yep. Uh, uh, what I know. I'd probably get this by now, but what would be your dream job besides being a or being part of your job that you do?
I mean, it's a really good question, and one that I really struggle, because been asked this before. It's one I struggle to have an answer with, because if you were to ask me 5 years ago, what would be your dream job? It'd be what I'm doing now. Now I'd like to get paid a little bit more and do it in front of a couple more people than I usually do. But at the same time, this is my dream job. I don't really want to go anywhere else. Obviously, if something comes up and greater opportunity arises, that'd be great. But I'm doing my dream job, but at a smaller volume, I guess I could say. Doing this for a big ESPN or maybe Fox Sports or the Bally Sports Kansas City. That would be really cool. That'd probably be a dream job to do what I'm doing now, but at a higher frequency, I guess.
Yeah. Uh, I'm just gonna kind of follow up with that. Being at the higher level type of idea. What athlete would you most like to interview and why?
That's a really good question. I was asked this actually last week, and I am a Colts fan. And I saw Andrew Luck was on a podcast a couple years ago. Andrew Luck's probably before your time, which is crazy to say because Andrew Luck is like retired 5 years ago in my brain. But I would probably say, yeah, I love Bobby Witt Jr. I think Bobby Witt Jr. would actually be the guy. Avery Johnson would be really cool. Yeah, I'm a big Cats guy. I love Avery Johnson. But that's the thing, we run it like you see so many people that you wouldn't expect to see in this profession that it kind of catches you off guard. It's so cool that some of the stuff where it's like, a dream interview becomes reality and it's not even that crazy to even think about. So I would say probably Bobby Witt Jr. I like Vinny Pasquantino. I think he's a fun character. He's always funny on social media, but those are probably my two guys that I'd go with right now.
Yeah, I think mine would probably be Patrick Mahomes, maybe.
Yeah. Not
Uh,
Travis Kelsey, or does he talk too much on his podcast already?
I think he talks too much on his podcast already. What advice do you have for someone like me who wants to go into your profession?
I mean, it's obvious you have a passion about being in sports, considering you do this at already you're such a young age. I mean, I definitely at your age, I had no idea what I wanted to do when I grew up. I mean, I can't even think about what I wanted to do when I like you. I wanted to be a professional athlete, and other than that, there wasn't really much of a there wasn't a backup plan, and there probably should have been. But I would just say get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's easy to stay kind of in your circle of comfortability. But also finding I'm not sure if you know the word niche, but finding kind of a specialty that you can be really good at, that you can really that sets you apart from somebody else. So with us, I'm and I don't condone this. This is not a recommendation for you, but I'm our sports gambling guy. It's a hobby of mine. It's an interest of mine. I'm our sports gambling guy because I've done it for 4 or 5 years now, and it's very interesting to me. Nobody else in the office does it, but I do it, and it gave me an opportunity, this year where I hosted a show at a sports book in Mulvane, where I was hosting a show and I was giving out picks on our air, and that's really cool. And I wouldn't have ever thought that'd be the case, but finding something that is kind of your specialty, where if someone says, okay, what can Bryce do for us? Okay, well, I can cover sports. I want to be a sideline reporter. Well, we've already got that. What else can you do for me? And having something that might stand out a little bit on maybe a resume, or just when somebody's saying, well, Bryce does this, but he can also do this. Because, I don't want to break your heart, but there's a lot of people that want to do what you and I do. There's a lot of people that want to be ESPN sideline reporters and do play by play. What sets you apart is going to really matter in the long term, and just finding a specialty and kind of a little niche would be my greatest advice that I could give.
Yeah. Uh, Now, next, I'm going to go through some this or that questions, and I'll also be giving my answers as well. Uh, in your opinion, Michael Jordan or LeBron for the GOAT?
I'm a LeBron guy, and I even had to watch like The Last Dance when it was in COVID, and everybody else was flip flopping. I've been a LeBron guy for a while, and that's not saying like I like LeBron. I don't like watching him. He's kind of annoying to watch sometimes. I don't really watch much NBA anymore, but I would go with LeBron just because the fact that he's 40 years old, and he's an MVP candidate at 40 years old. I mean, Michael Jordan was gambling and owning teams when he was 40. He was trying out his double A baseball career. LeBron's been doing this for a long time, and I think that says something about what he does, and that's kind of why I'm still on the boat of like Tom Brady. I would say is still the GOAT because he's done it. He did it for such a long time, and that's not any slight to Michael Jordan. I think that Michael Jordan's great, but I just think that LeBron, like if you were to say one on one, go head to head, I'd go LeBron.
Yeah, I'm a LeBron fan as well. My parents are both Michael Jordan fans.
Me too. Me too. Did they force you to watch The Last Dance?
I did watch some of it when I in COVID time, but
It's propaganda. Don't fall for it. It's propaganda.
uh, would you rather win a Super Bowl or win the World Series?
I was a baseball guy growing up, so I would definitely rather win the World Series because, baseball, especially Major League Baseball, it's such a long season, 162 games, 7 months, and then you get an extra month at the end of it. I'd love to win a World Series. It's just the culmination of so many different things. And you think about it, like after a Super Bowl, you only get one like champagne party. Like in baseball, they party after like winning the division, clinching the playoffs. Then you get two more playoff rounds to party, and then you get the World Series. Like that'd be great.
Yeah, I personally, I would rather I'd be a Super Bowl guy. I'd rather win the Super Bowl. I just think that it'd just be, I don't know. I'm, you'd probably be more right about that, but it's just an opinion. It's not like a fact or anything. So,
Yeah.
would you rather go to college at Texas or KU?
I'd rather go to Texas. We're both Big 12 fans. We're both K-State fans. I have gone to one SEC football game. And I know that like everybody's like, oh, SEC is so big. And I kind of have to stand back on that as a K-State fan and be like, well, the Big 12 does it right too. There's truly nothing like an SEC football game and being able to like go to one of those, like the fans, there's 108,000 people in those stands, and it's so cool to be able to go to those. To be able to like be a student in the student section and go into those games would be so cool. I mean, I could go to a KU football game for like $5 now, and it'd be I'd be like one of the five people in there. I'd much rather go to Texas. As the ESPN Wichita, we are the home of KU, so I can't talk too badly about KU. So I kind of have to prop up Texas here to defend my pick, but I definitely rather go to Texas. Also, it's warmer.
Yes. Uh, I would definitely rather go to Texas as well. I did you see the Arizona State Texas game in the playoffs?
I did. That was awesome.
Yeah, I was cheering for Arizona State hard.
Me too. I'm glad they just made it look competitive. Nobody could be like, "Well, look at the SEC, so much better than the Big 12." But yeah, I did not see that coming in the playoff. I thought Arizona State was going to get smoked, but I guess I was wrong. That's why I don't have a sports podcast.
Uh, I would. I mean, in that Arizona State Texas game, I feel like Arizona State just was like this close to winning the game too.
Yeah. Texas had a 4th and 13 and they threw a Hail Mary and got it in overtime. I mean, if they get a stop on 4th and 13, it's very different.
Yeah, I was really mad when that happened. I was because a lot of people were saying like Big 12 conference isn't real in football, like they're not very good and stuff, and I just kind of wanted them to just shut up and just.
So I do have a question for you. How old are you? You're like what, 10 years old? You're getting coming up on 10, right? Because you were during the Royals World Series. Where do you get your information? Are you like do you listen to other podcasts? I'm sure you don't have social media yet.
No, I don't have social media, but I do listen to a few other podcasts. One of them, it's another kid. He talks about sports, and he was kind of like the inspiration for me to start this podcast.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's called Kids Talk Sports. It's
Okay, I'll have to
legit.
write that down. I watch a lot. I watch a lot of YouTube podcasts when I'm at work. I've got like two monitors, and I'm very much I have to watch something while I'm working or listen to something while I'm working. You'd be surprised. In my living room, you're going to think this is awesome. I have three TVs in my living room, so I can watch a bunch of sports, and it's definitely overkill. But that's what's great about having my own apartment.
Uh, we always bring like all of our TVs down, or all of our TVs, and we just bring them inside our downstairs living room and to watch March Madness. Like we'll
Oh
have
yeah,
four games going at once.
oh yeah, that's what it's all about right there.
uh, would you rather have a no hitter or walk off?
I was a pitcher, so I'd rather throw a no hitter, and also just because it's so much like more rare to do something like that to have a no hitter, and it's also like 9 innings of throwing a no hitter. Like I could go 0 for 5 and then walk it off in the 12th, and it's still a pretty bad game. But I'd much rather have a no hitter for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you just because of the rarity of having a no hitter. Like, not very many teams have ever done that. So,
Yeah.
mhm. uh, would you rather have a buzzer beater for the win, but that's your first points of the game, or have a triple double?
That's a good one. I'd rather the buzzer beater would be really cool. And it kind of goes against the answer I gave a moment ago, where like if I had a triple double, that's the entire game, dominating the entire game. At a buzzer beater, it could be my first points of the game, like you were saying. I'd probably rather go with the buzzer beater because then it's like people will like storm the court on you. You get to be at the bottom of the dog pile. Maybe the student section puts you on their shoulders and lifts you off the floor. But yeah, that's a great question. I think I'm gonna have to go with definitely the buzzer beater because that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I personally would go with the triple double. I just think it just
The
have a.
real question is, would you rather have the buzzer beater at the end and win, or the triple double and lose?
Oh, true, true, true. if we lost and had a triple double, I'd probably say then a buzzer beater and win.
Okay, making sure your coach is watching. You got to make sure you have those team player.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Be a team player. Would you rather win a high school state championship in football, basketball, or baseball?
That's a good question. Um, I didn't like basketball growing up, and to be honest, well, I didn't really like a whole lot of my basketball teammates, so I wouldn't really want to win one with them. But I mean, I always enjoyed football, and a football state championship is something it feels football is the coolest sport. I mean, everybody loves football, and nobody really, unfortunately, cares too much about high school baseball. So I'd probably go with football, just because football is such a grueling season, and to get to a state championship, win it on, I guess it'd be Thanksgiving weekend, would be so cool. Playing in, Emporia and one of those really cool stadiums, I'd probably go with football. Even though I'm a baseball guy, I'd definitely go with football because it just the payment, it just all the hard work in football season paying off. I mean, those practices are brutal, but also at the end of the day, you'd be playing in really cold weather, like a couple years ago when it was a snowstorm and a blizzard. I don't know if I'd want to play in a blizzard.
Yeah. I'd probably go basketball just because it's my favorite sport.
Yeah.
But I guess it's different in football because it's definitely I'd say it's a little more rewarding in football than it is in any other sport.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Uh, would you rather announce for a Super Bowl or a World Series?
That's another good one. I'd go with the World Series because then it's like I'm a quantity over quality. Like the Super Bowl would be really cool. You'd have millions and trillions of people watching you. Like everybody watches the Super Bowl worldwide. But like in baseball, you get 7 games that you get a call potentially. That would be really cool. I'd love to call a baseball game, but especially the Super Bowl just feels like everything around the Super Bowl is so much cooler than the actual game. The week leading up to it, the media and everything, everybody has their own parties and the commercials. Like I don't know about you, but I'd never want to go to a Super Bowl. I never want to watch the game in the stadium. I'd rather watch at home on my couch with my buddies and my queso in the crock pot than be at a stadium and having to buy $25 nachos and not know whether I'm going to see the game or not.
Yeah. I would following up on that, if I would probably go to a Super Bowl.
Really?
Yeah, I just
Maybe
think
one time. Maybe one time. I'd like to go maybe once. Like, if I was told I have 12 months to live, I'd probably go to the Super Bowl that year.
I just think that the experience is just so cool. Like
Yeah.
being at that game and like I've never been to like a neutral site where like both teams are there and like there's probably an equally amount of t fans on each team.
For sure. For sure.
Okay, I have one last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, could you tell me what's going on in this photo?
Oh my gosh, where'd you get that from? Oh man, that's a good one.
It,
Who got you that? Was that Eric? Was that Kate Thornton?
it was your high school principal. Uh,
Ah,
I don't know who that is, but
it was either Kate Thornton or Kevin Souther, and they're both on my hit list whenever I come back. Yeah, so I wasn't very good. Deion Sanders has this saying. He's got plenty of them, but his old saying was "Look good, feel good, play good." Well, I wanted to look good because I wasn't very good at basketball, so I had the headband on, and I this was actually senior night. It was so funny. So I got hit. I can't remember what happened, but I got like hit in the head. And of course, the refs don't call it because the refs hate Chapman. And so it like halfway comes off. And so I'm like, okay, I'll just get this at the next whistle because it's like a back and forth game. We're playing Rock Creek and it's just a back and forth game. It's like fast break after fast break. I don't have any time to like, okay, let me fix my hair. I didn't even know how it looked actually. And then, of course, it's like 3 minutes of game time pass by before there's even like a stoppage of play for me to fix it. So obviously, our photographer had a chance to get an incredible picture of me there that is going to live on in infamy. If I ever get inducted into the Chapman Athletics Hall of Fame, which is a long shot, it'll never happen. But I hope that's the picture they use on my plaque because that would be awesome.
yeah, I thought that was pretty funny when my dad showed it to me and he said to put it on the show.
There's a lot of them that are really funny. I was you would not mistake me for photogenic. I'm sure because I know Mackenzie did some photography stuff. She would have a field day taking pictures of me looking like an idiot out on the floor. It didn't matter what sport, football, basketball, or baseball. It was always funny whenever I got a picture taken of me.
Yeah. I would never want that to happen to me. I would personally be embarrassed if that happened. Like I just gotta.
You see, when it happens so much, I kind of just get used to it. I'm like, yeah, oh well, I looked like an idiot out there. But definitely, if I don't even know. The funny thing is, like, I wish I had that headband to like hang up, like nail on the wall back there, like you've got your sign there, kind of like a memorial or something. But I don't even know what happened to that headband. I think it's probably still in the Chapman locker room in one of the drawers because I think I threw it away after that game. I was so embarrassed because it got 30 ball. We lost by like 100, and I looked like an idiot out there. So. Yeah, if anybody can find that headband, just give it to Bryce and we'll pass it down.
All right. Thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'd love to come back anytime.
Anytime if you want to. All right. That's all I have for this episode. Again, this is Chance Liebau. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.